Everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. As always, we are live here on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channel. Guys, the same way we start each and every one of our shows. If you're new to the channel, if you're watching over on Twitter, make sure to do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Follow us across all social media platforms, more specifically our YouTube page, and check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you directly to the DSM Philadelphia YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with your host. I'm one half of them, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. The Philadelphia 76ers, 2-10 start the year, Scotty. Haven't played since Friday night, 2 days off. They get into action tonight in South Beach against the Miami Heat, and Jimmy Butler will be making his return. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about this disaster of a start to a season, and do we owe a certain viewer, a certain commenter, a little bit of an apology just because of how bad Friday night was. The Sixers 2-10, they lose Friday in bad fashion, ugly fashion to the Magic, the same fashion that they have been playing all season long. The Eagles, obviously, we talk about their win on Friday afternoon, their Thursday night victory over the Washington Commanders. They're 8-2. Minnesota Vikings are 8-2. The Detroit Lions are 9-1. However, the Detroit Lions are viewed and talked about as this just juggernaut, bona fide, tier one by themselves team in the NFC, and everyone else is a step below them, a couple tiers below them. We're going to talk about why that's not true and just how the Eagles are on that same level as the Detroit Lions. So we'll have fun with today's show, man. Obviously, we left Friday's show with a little nugget, with a little rumor of Alec Boehm on the trade block when it comes to the Phillies, and Alex Bregman possibly coming in. And then something gets leaked today. Scott Boras just can't get out of his own way. Evidently, they're looking in the 11-year, $350 million range for Alex Bregman, which isn't happening. So we'll see where those rumors can start to go throughout the offseason. But like I said, make sure to follow, make sure to subscribe, make sure to get your comments in. We'll have a fun show tonight. An easy show, my man, but happy Monday.
Yes, sir. It is a happy Monday. We didn't have any Eagles football. We didn't have any Sixers basketball yesterday. So while there was no room for maybe excitement of a win, there was no room for disappointment, which has come with a lot of Sixers basketball this year. Is a lot of disappointment. You mentioned we owe someone out there an apology, and I hope he's watching. I hope he tunes in at some point just so we can say it directly to him. But Marshawn Lynch, if you're out there, brother, I'm so sorry about Friday. I'm embarrassed myself, so I can only imagine how the Sixers must feel. Psych, they don't look bothered. I think that's the other part that looks even sadder about this team. You mentioned it on X, how mopey Joel Embiid looked in that game against Orlando, man. There's no Paolo Banchero. I get Franz Wagner, good player, right? Good, great player, maybe. All-star, maybe, right? Like a solid player. Jalen Suggs, solid player, good player, man. Like, but to go out, right, lose by double digits, not even really be in the game at the end of it. Paul George looks horrible in the game. Caleb Martin, like 0 points in the first half, like non-existent. Just mind-boggling stuff from this team sometimes, especially after you see the way they come out and compete against the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers on the tail end of a back-to-back.
Right.
It just doesn't add up, man. It doesn't add up on a night-to-night basis, getting the amount of effort needed to win. And I think that's what it comes down to with this team at this point. It's not about like the injuries and all these excuses. This team just needs to try harder, man. Like play better. Like it is almost that simple. Like you can't be this bad. Like you just can't.
Yeah. Look, we threw out the idea of apologizing to our dear friend, the commenter, Martian, because he was pretty mopey himself about the Sixers on our Friday afternoon show and talking about, how he feels about the season and Joel Embiid in particular, et cetera. And me and Scotty kind of laughed and just said, relax. And that was at 2-9. And now they're at 2-10. And I know one game just shouldn't make that big of a difference. If I'm going to tell you on November 14th to remain patient. I can't really tell you one game later that the wheels are falling off and the season's over and forget about it. I'm not going to take it just that far for you guys. However, man, like I am diminished right now. I am frustrated as a Sixers fan, Scotty. And you mentioned, no Eagles on Sunday, no game for the Sixers since Friday, no room for disappointment. Disagree. Because now apparently Joel Embiid's got another stomach bug or whatever the fuck is wrong with him.
Something else, another excuse,
and
right?
Now doubtful to play tonight at the listed as questionable.
That's a great point.
Illness. And you brought it up. I get it. Andre Drummond did just miss action with an illness. So there could be something going around. And that's not Joel's fault. But again, it's optics. It's the fans.
Yeah.
You're 2-10. He's missed this time. You lied to the NBA. You lied to your fan base. You were being weird. You're getting chippy with reporters. The whole thing is a clown show. And now he's fucking sick again. He has to be the most ill player in the NBA.
In the worst way, by the way. I know.
Name another player you can recall where he misses at least 3 to 5 games a year because of an illness. There's only, and not even an illness, there's only like one other player in the NBA that I feel like is like the same as Joel Embiid, and it's Kawhi Leonard. Like, that's the only other guy that I think, like, you sneeze on him and this guy's going to miss a game or two. It's not the same by any means because I don't remember Kawhi Leonard missing anything with illness, but it's just that factor of it's always something. It's always something. Like, we've gone through 3 to 4 different reasons why Joel Embiid has missed a game so far this season. You know what I mean? 3 to 4 different excuses for Joel Embiid to miss a game this season, right? The injury from the Olympics, conditioning, suspension, you know what I mean? And now illness. Like, what is it? Like, why can't we just get on the court consistently? Bro. It's optics.
It's optics. It is. Because he's practicing.
You lose the game to the Knicks, excuse me. I was brain fart there. You lose the game to the Knicks in his debut. You know they had the back-to-back, and he makes the comments about, well, you know me, I'm a troll, and, he's pushing the play.
Yeah.
Brother, you shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, you didn't have to say that.
10 hours later, him and Paul George are both out before the game against the Cavaliers. Okay, then we get to – and then they compete with the Cavaliers and almost beat the undefeated Cavaliers with Chad McCain and Caleb Martin and Kelly Oubre leading the way and all these backups. And then you get to Friday in a game with Embiid playing 33 minutes, with Paul George on no-minute restriction, no Paolo Banchero, no Wendell Carter Jr. against the Orlando Magic. You're winning. You're up 8. You're up 10. You're in it to start the fourth quarter, and you score 14 goddamn points in a fourth quarter. You score 86 points in a game. The offense looks pathetic. I know, man, it's going to take reps and it's going to take time for these two to gel and play well together. And they haven't even done so with Maxey yet. See, now I want to take my apology back, you smart ass.
No,
you to start the show.
He deserves to be able to say that, Dylan. He deserves to be able to say that because we shunned him on Friday for feeling the way he felt. Look how we feel tonight, man, when Joel Embiid says he's sick.
Correct. But let's talk about what it is.
Balance it out for us.
Friday he was saying Joel Embiid sucks. Brother,
rewind
the show to the start. And see what we had to say about you. Secondly, the thing and I tweeted it out like you were talking about, that's the problem. You get to Friday night, you're in it, and he looks like a mopey fuck.
And he's out of it.
He's done his entire. That's the part. It's not his play. It's not the bad shooting 2 games into coming back. It's not conditioning. No, it's the attitude. It's the body language. It's looking like he doesn't even want to be out there. It's holding the ball up here and getting it stripped, going the other way for a dunk, and then jogging back. Not like, dude, I can't take that shit. Also, when you want to come out after losing to the Knicks and talk about how you're a troll and you know me, I'm going to push the play tomorrow. You're 30 years old, dude. Stop. I don't need the troll shit anymore. Stop.
It's unnecessary, man. When you know the answer, like you know that you're not playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know that you're not.
Again,
like, come on.
Say that, and now the fan base gets a glimmer of hope. Okay, maybe things will be different. Maybe the load management plan will be different. Nope, he and PG are out. Nope, they lose a game. Well, now they're both going to play Friday. No minutes restriction for PG. Nope, they score 86 points. I know they're going to gel at some point. I know they're both going to shoot better. Joel, 5 for 15. PG, 4 for 15. Joel, 2 made baskets in his debut against the Knicks. That will get fixed. I understand it. But I don't understand how a team with this much talent scores 86 points.
Yeah, it shouldn't be possible,
and
man.
Their offense has been a problem all year, with or without Joel Embiid.
It's a problem when your rookie leads the way in scoring. Like, okay, fine. It's great that Jared McCain is scoring the rock, right, and becoming a big part of the team.
Cool.
Should he be leading the way in Orlando with Paul George and Joel Embiid on the court? We should be going to Jared McCain on the road in Orlando when we have Joel Embiid and Paul George on the court. Like, that just feels ridiculous to me, man. And I get it. Like, I do get it when he has the hot hand. But even in Cleveland, dude, like, Oubre, you are a veteran, dude. Like, get a bucket. Like, Caleb Martin, get a bucket. You are a veteran. And they're sitting here being submissive to Jared McCain, passing him the ball, like looking for him to go and score every fucking time. It's unbelievable.
If Jared McCain didn't have the ball in his hands, they had no offense.
Yeah.
They didn't try to do anything else.
It's insane.
I want to be here so badly, and it's the mindset I had Friday, and I know one more loss, 2-9, 2-10, shouldn't make the difference, and I know Joel's going to start looking like an MVP in a month from now, and Paul George will shoot better, and Maxey will be playing. I know. Yeah. I know they're making the playoffs. Like, I'm not taking it that far. I know they're going to make the playoffs, and if they're healthy making the playoffs, like, I want to be there. I just can't stand the mopey shit. That's why I'm snapping.
Yeah.
Because there's no excuse for that part. There's an excuse for the conditioning. There's an excuse for the poor shooting, etc. There's no excuse. Jared McCain is trying to save your ass against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You should come out Friday and want to win with him. Want to win for him.
It's like Jared McCain. Jared McCain shouldn't have the biggest nuts on the squad, like, as a rookie. Like, to go out there and take the tough shots. Nobody wants to be at fault or something. Like, I don't get it, bro. Like, I really don't. Like, too small for the moment.
They played 2 games together.
It's the magic.
I've watched Paul George. I've watched Paul George dribble into Joel Embiid 3 different times in 2 games and turn the ball over for dribble into him. What are we doing? He dribbled into his own teammate setting a screen, and the ball went off Joel's leg 3 times in 2 games playing together so far and resulted in a dunk in a key piece of a game. Like, this wasn't when they were down 12 or down 11 to the Knicks. No, this was like when they were up by 4. And then this happens and it turns the tide and everything goes bad. Look, I'm trying to take a deep breath because you know how this gets, Scotty, and we talk about them 3+ times a week. And 2 months from now, we could be looking back at ourselves going, look at those 2 idiots. Look how mad they were in November. I pray to God that is the case because we talked all offseason about how talented and loaded this roster is. I just can't deal with the mopey shit from the leader, from the MVP, from the guy that wants to win this championship so bad. And I know championships aren't won in November. But a 2-10 season, bro.
Yeah. I don't think we look back on this and feel wrong about it, man. They're 2-10. They have 2 wins. The Detroit Pistons have been able to gather more wins than the Philadelphia 76ers this season so far, and there's no excuses for that. Like, it just can't be this bad. Like, I don't. The only thing I'll say about Nick Nurse is, like, I don't know how he's not, like, ripping his hair out watching these guys play basketball right now. I just have
to ask, man, if I'm going to question what Nick Sirianni does, I'm going to start to question what the hell it is that Nick Nurse does. And what I mean by that is, like, I told you about the Kyle Neubeck article about how Nick, I think it was Kyle Neubeck, could have been someone else, talking about how Nick Nurse's offense is just simple and it's built around Joel, and that's understandable. But when, like, we talked about it with Mike McDaniel and Tua, right? You can't just do nothing and change nothing when you're missing the guy that makes everything go. When you're missing Joel MPG or missing Maxi MPG, dude, can you do something to help out these shorthanded players?
Right.
And not just go, hey, Jared, here you go for 8 possessions in a row against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And, like, the thing with Joel, like, I don't know, man. Like, how are you at practice, like, practicing with the squad and, like, running up and down, and, like, you're still, like, this unconditioned? Like, I know every time he comes back from an injury, this is what we get.
Yeah.
But, like, can't you, like, just get a system where it just looks a little bit better when you come back to, like, where you're just not, like, heaving on the court, like, while you're playing? Like I don't know, man. Like, maybe it is, like, a tolerance thing as the season is wearing on. Like, I'm ready to see Joel with the squad. You know what I mean? Like, Maxey has his hamstring injury, whatever. I'm ready to win some games with Joel Embiid with the squad, and here this man is with the illness now. Like, so with an illness, his lungs are going to be all messed up. He's not going to be able to breathe. He's not going to be conditioned once again, like, for another week or two, right? And so what? We're getting into December now, where Joel Embiid is still, like, working his way back. I saw TR's comment earlier about Paul George. That's what I'm really, really honing in on right now. He no longer has the minutes restriction. I listened to his pod today. Got to hear a lot, him talk a lot about how he's still getting in rhythm. He's starting to find his legs. He's starting to feel lighter footed, right? He needs to step up right now. That's ultimately what we paid him to do. I hate that we're in this situation where he potentially has to operate as, like, a number one, but it is what it is right now. We need it, and I need him to step up, man. Joel Embiid, it is what it is. We're going to have to wait until he is ultimately in shape, plus not sick, plus the knee not bothering him, before we get to see that animal. But
it's not. I get it. Like, you're sick. Yeah. I get it. It's just like you said, man. It's everything all the time, every year, and that's, again, to Gin's point. Yeah, just knock on wood that Joel is Joel in November, and Joel scoring 50 in April and May. Like, that's what we've gotten in the past. Played whatever. Here's the thing, and what to the last thing I'll say, and then we'll get into the Eagles. And that's the issue with him not playing tonight, and now you're shorthanded against Jimmy Butler and the Heat on the road. You're staring down the barrel of being too. You can't keep losing now. Yeah. You can't. I know it's a long season. I got it. But 3 days ago, it was, we're 3 games out of the 3 seed. You're 5 games out of the 3 seed now. You're 8 games below. You lose tonight. You're 9 games below 500. Maybe you're 7. Like, I know they're only a handful of games out of a playoff spot. I got that. I know the East sucks. I know they're going to get healthy. I got that. You can't keep digging this hole deeper and deeper and deeper, because what I need everyone to remember is he's not going to play the rest of the year. PG's not going to play the rest of the way. You know what I'm saying? So you start 2-11, you start 2-12, you're 10 games below 500.
I get it.
Joel Embiid not playing the remaining 50
every Eastern Conference team that you play and you lose to gets a win to get up a notch ahead of you as well. So that's why this game against the Heat is a huge matchup tonight. Like, and you look at this matchup once again. I'm looking at it just like the Orlando Magic. Like, yes, Jimmy Butler's back, Bam Adebayo is playing, Tyler Hero's playing. They're playing at a good level, right? No Terry Rozier, no Jaime Jaquez Jr. tonight. So they're missing some guys. This is a game you could steal. It is a game you could steal if you had some nuts. If you had some nuts on you, you could go into Miami and steal a game tonight where they're down just a few players.
If Paul George just plays well, plays his game.
Give us 20, 25. McCain is shown that he's can be consistent in his last 5-6 games. He's been the most consistent player.
And I will say this, again, I don't disagree with this. because that's also part of the reason they're in this hole. Because what I was going to say is, what are we laughing at? Oh, the Heat or the East sucks, right? That's our saving grace. Really? The Brooklyn Nets are 5-9. The Charlotte Hornets are 5-8. The Miami Heat are 5-7. They were just missing Jimmy Butler for a little while. What is their excuse? They didn't have Tyrese Maxey for the first 8 games. They don't have Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. They don't have Paul George and Joel Embiid together. Like, what if the Charlotte Hornets can start 5-8, if the Brooklyn Nets can start 5-9, how are you 2-10?
Yeah. And Maxey wasn't playing to the level, not even close to the level that he should be. He was jacking up shots and he was shooting some of the most efficient basketball that I've seen from him, quite honestly, since he got here. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Maybe they'll go win a game tonight that they shouldn't win. And they'll be 3-10. And we'll see where we continue to climb from here. And hopefully Joel can play in the next game after this.
Yeah.
Sixers winning tonight. +5. Go take them +5.
There are things they can do, like to just be a little bit better, right? Like personnel, different things, like Reggie Jackson over Jeff Doughton, these type of things consistently,
Yeah,
take
Alex,
place.
listen, man, Scotty, bro, I'm not sitting here. I'm really not banging the table for Reggie Jackson and telling you Reggie Jackson's going to win you ball games.
Save the season.
But how do you watch? You need a scoring punch against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You bring in Reggie Jackson. He scores like 9 points in 3 minutes. Drop somebody, step back, knock down 3. Steal, goes the other way, assist, dunk. Helps just give a little punch. And then he's a DNP the next game in Friday night, and Jeff Doughton's playing a handful of minutes.
Yeah, please
what are we
get
doing?
Jeff Doughton out my face, man. I don't need to see him anymore. He takes ill-advised shots. Like he bothers me at this point.
Because Scotty, he bothers you because he's a fucking G leaguer. And the way that some of these ball knowers on Twitter and Nick Nurse, apparently he's a G leaguer. And he's playing over a dude that was the 6th man of the NBA champions 2 years ago. Maybe the 7th man, excuse me. Christian Brown might have been the 6th man. He's the backup point guard. Like that, what are we doing here, man? Because the thing is, Scotty, there's no more looking for little positives. The Jared McCain thing is great. It's a positive. I don't need to see any more to know it's a positive.
Yeah,
I don't need to take away these little victories, these moral victories. I need to start winning games because I'm not trying to be fucking 16 games under 500 in December.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. It's all great stories, right? And this is what one loss did. It's not that it was one loss. It's that we were coming off an Eagles victory on Thursday night. We were real high off that. And just the thought of Embiid coming back after you have that game against Cleveland on Wednesday, right?
What it is.
You had that game against Cleveland that you should have won in Cleveland against them, right? Or that might have been in Philly. Maybe I'm getting that confused. Regardless. But nonetheless, a game you should have won against Cleveland. You think, we get Paul George and Embiid back for Friday against Apollo Banchero-less Orlando Magic. We should be able to win this game. And
what it is.
Gold is what that was, man.
I don't care what the spread was. I don't care who was favored. It's a game the Sixers should have won, and they didn't. And it's not that, Joel was just so bad all night. The Sixers were up by 10 midway through the third quarter. And then they scored 14 goddamn points in the fourth quarter.
And they have these little big spurts, quite honestly, of just not
scoring droughts. They do it all the time.
Droughts.
I mean, you and I know we've taken their team total multiple times in the first 12 games.
Because it's pathetic.
They'll go 3 or 4 minutes without a goddamn bucket. Nothing.
Like 102 points. It's pathetic where their team total is at points. Like, I'm curious what it is tonight, quite honestly, against the Miami Heat.
On Fanatics, the lowest starts at 99.5, and it's like -180. So I think you can get them like over 103.5 at like -140, -130. It's crazy and it's sad, man. Anyway, let's keep talking standings. Eagles 8-2, Lions 9-1. And me and Scotty were talking before the show. Like, that's the only thing that sucks for a Monday after a bye week, or sucks for a Monday with the Thursday night win, because yes, Friday was great. Friday was fun, celebratory, great. And then now we have to wait a whole week, and we're not going to start talking Eagles Rams today when we have all week in a pregame show to get into it. So we're looking at what we can do, and we're looking around the NFC yesterday, and the Lions, obviously, what they dropped. Scotty, help me out with that. 52 again.
Yeah, 52 to 6.
The Vikings win again. They're 8-2. The Niners lose. Sorry, Terry, not throw a jab your way, but they're 5-5. And I just think that's part of the story here. Is we're looking around the NFC, and I'm trying to figure out just where it is the Sixers sit in terms of the pecking orders, in terms of that tier with the Lions, because the Lions are perceived, they're talked about, they're looked at nationally, and maybe even some people within our own fan base as this top dog. Like, they are above and beyond everybody else. Everyone else is down looking up at them, and they have to beat the Lions. Did I say the Sixers by accident?
You did. I wasn't going to interrupt you, but yeah, you did. They're on the noggin. It's okay.
Yeah. But anyway, and I just said this guy, I don't know what it is, man, because I did it. We did it. We came on the show. We were part of the problem, or I was part of the problem, at least when it came to that early Eagles season, 2-2, getting crushed going in the bye, fire Nick Sirianni, etc.
Yeah.
But is it really that? Like, what is the difference when people talk Lions Eagles? Why is there this big gap in some people's minds between these two teams? 9-1 versus 8-2. Two of the best offenses in football. Eagles statistically better on like, what is the gap in people's minds? And I just have to go back. Is it simply coaching? Not in my mind. I mean, maybe in my mind, but not in my mind is what I'm saying. From the outside looking in, is it just that? Is it one coach can cost his team, and the other, and Dan Campbell, is looked at as this great guy, this leader? Ben Johnson's the best OC in the game. He's going to be a head coach next year, whatever. Is that the answer? Because outside of that, I can't find it, Scotty. Jared Goff versus Jalen Hurts. We could talk about that in a minute. Pound for pound, offense versus offense, line versus line. I don't know what the gap is in people's minds.
Yeah, no, it is. It's puzzling until you really kind of sit around and think about it, right? And it's just the fact, like you said, the coaching regime in Detroit has this like glowing thing around them. Everybody glazes their coaching staff, and I get it. Ben Johnson is great offensive coordinator. He has that offense humming. But I mean, we can also look at the talent that he's working with on the offense. Like, yeah, he should have it humming. It's a very talented offense. When I look at Dan Campbell versus Nick Sirianni, it's actually funny because they are like very similar in a sense. Maybe some people like Dan Campbell's like toughness and that like persona or whatever. And I think there's an arrogance and confidence persona that comes with Sirianni that might be off-putting to others, right? So maybe that's like the difference, arrogance versus like, muscle man, like, I don't know, toughness. But they both go for it a lot on fourth down. They're both very aggressive with their decision-making throughout games. So you look back through Detroit in the postseason, a lot of what happened to them down the stretch that cost them those games, or that game, I should say, was decision-making by Dan Campbell. So it is very interesting if that's the difference in perspective. Like, Ben Johnson, yes, A+, great coordinator. He has that offense humming. But when you look at Kellen Moore, his resume is not, like, horrible. His resume is not too shabby, right? Nick Sirianni, we know the winning percentage. Like we've said, we've talked about him being fired. We're not, like, dumb. We're not unaware of what we've said before or how we've felt. But the truth is, when team performs at the level that they're performing at right now, the players are playing for him the way they're playing. They're playing so. I heard this on 94.1. It was on randomly. Don't judge me. I was listening to it today while I was on the way to the gym, and they talked about it. It was Joe Giglio, and they said it and it clicked for me. So shout out to them. but this team is playing for one another. They're not playing for themselves. You look at Saquon telling Gainwell, get on the field, get the young guys some carries in the game against the Giants. Like, he's not worried about touchdowns. The team goes all in for these tush pushes where guess who gets those touchdowns? It's just Jalen Hurts. But the team buys into all of it. They play very selfless. We see the defense, the way they interact with each other and celebrate one another. So I can't sit here and look at Nick Sirianni right now and say, this guy's lost the locker room or this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he's coaching an 8-2 football team right now in the NFL where there's a lot of teams out there that are struggling to be consistent.
And it's not the same. It's not the same 8-2, 9-1 start from last year. It's not there are glaring issues with this team right now, and they just keep chugging along and finding a way to win, and he's going to lose it at some point. No, this Eagles team is kicking ass, point blank, period.
Yeah.
For 6 weeks in a row, 5 weeks in a row.
I'll throw this to you. I said this to you before the show, but do they just feel this way? Do you guys just feel this way about Detroit's offense because they run the score up to 52 points, keep Amon-Ra in until the end of the game? Like, imagine what we could have done to the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas if we leave our starters in for the entire fourth quarter. Right. And we get A.J. Brown the ball in the fourth quarter, right? And Smitty, we get him in the end zone too. Like, yeah, we can score 50 points as well. We just choose not to in a lot of scenarios. Cincinnati, we go in there, we score 37. The starters come out for the second half of the fourth quarter. Like,
correct.
Is that the difference in the offensive perspective?
And I think that's just been part of Nick's DNA as well. It has nothing to do with not even like resting or sitting players like we did in Dallas. You know, the whole fourth quarter they're not playing, which is the smart thing to do. But it's always been in Nick's DNA. We can go back and run through different examples throughout his first 4 years now, where when they are up that much going into a fourth quarter,
run the football.
That is it. It is tick, tick, tick. It is run the football. If we're up 28-6, it's not, the Eagles aren't going to go score 45, 42 points.
Right.
They're just going to run the football. If Will Shipley breaks a touchdown run, he breaks a touchdown run. But that's it. Like, there is nothing else happening. Whereas, I mean, like you said, Amon-Ra St. Brown's catching a touchdown pass to go up to
his second touchdown pass of the game.
Yeah,
in the last play of the fourth quarter.
Like, look, whatever.
To each their own.
Correct.
But that doesn't make their offense better, right?
No. So exactly. So let's talk about it, right? Because is recency bias that much of a bitch for people? Like, really? Because what are you going to tell me? All right, the Lions and Eagles are both really good this year, right? Both very, very good. We look at these offenses over the last couple weeks. The Eagles, 28, 28, 34, 37, 26. The Lions, 52, 47, so on and so forth, right? Last year, the Lions, NFC Championship, very good. The year prior, Eagles, Super Bowl. Do you get it? So Just what? Because there was an epic collapse in the last 7 weeks here, and the Lions went on a run a year more recent than us. They're viewed as this trustworthy juggernaut, and we still have to make up ground or make believers out of people. Look, I'm not worried about making anybody a believer, but let's run through it just very simply. Offensive line for offensive line, it is almost as even as you can get. It is. Their offensive line is so good. They want to run the football. They want to use play action. They want to get Jared Goff out of the pocket and get the ball out of his hands quickly. The Eagles want to run the football. Great. Both teams can run the hell out of the football. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, dominant duo. Saquon Barkley, arguably an MVP of the league this year. Arguably him and Derrick Henry, two best running backs in all of football this year. So explosive. Just took over a game in the fourth quarter. Bang. Amon-Ra St. Brown. A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith. Jameson Williams. Sam Laporta. Better than Dallas. Like, these two teams are so close in talent. And then we get to the quarterback position. And this is where you lose me. If you would take Jared Goff, just skill-wise, over Jalen Hurts, we have a disconnect, and the conversation's just never going to work. Because, again, is recency bias that much of a bitch to you? Because Jared Goff playing out of this world this year. Outside of the 5 interception game, he's been phenomenal. He's been the MVP conversation. That he fits this system perfectly. This offense is high flying. Dude, 2 or 3 years ago, Jared Goff was shipped out of Los Angeles and was on his way of being run out of the league because he couldn't hack it anymore. And then Matthew Stafford goes to his former team and wins a Super Bowl in LA. So now, all of a sudden, because he's having this last year and a half, Jared Goff is some top 5 quarterback in the NFL?
Right. And you know what comes to mind on our Friday show, it was Pastor Rims. Shout out to Pastor Rims, faithful viewer, time to time. He's not here today. Haven't seen him yet. But he said that Jalen Hurts had did he say a mediocre game against the Commanders or like an average game? What did he call it? It was something a little offensive compared to what Jalen Hurts' stats were in the game. And I look at his stats, 18 for 28, 221 passing yards. Is that not a Jared Goff win? Is that not a Jared Goff game? Like for real. Like not last week 52 points, but like on a week to week consistent basis where the Lions have been winning football games. Was it not Jared Goff, around 250 yards, and maybe he has a touchdown, maybe not. The running backs get it in the end zone. The difference is Jalen Hurts scores the touchdowns at the end of the day with the rushing stats, right? So it's just interesting the perspective, like what Jalen Hurts has to do to be regarded as like an elite quarterback or like an elite performance. It has to be 300 passing yards. It has to be multiple touchdowns through the air specifically. They can't be on the ground.
Let me throw this
that's
out
what
there.
makes a spectacular game from Hurts. It can't be 200 through the air, no touchdowns, maybe 2 touchdowns on the ground, no turnovers.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Let me throw some out to you. All the way back in week 1, Jared Goff and the Lions get a win in overtime against the Rams. Jared Goff, 18 of 28, 217 passing yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Jared Goff against the Cardinals, 20-13 victory. 18 of 23, 199, 2 touchdowns, interception. Jared Goff in a 52-point game against the Titans, 12 of 15, 85 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jared Goff against the Green Bay Packers, 18 of 22, 145, a touchdown, no interceptions. Like their moment, you can go to last week, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Got it. But to your point, Jalen's thrown 1, run 3 in. Jalen's thrown 2, run 2 in. Had over 330
Who's
total
playing
yards.
better football right now?
Right.
Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff? Not just one game, over the last, let's say 5 games, let's say 4 games. Who's playing better football? And that's my answer to the question, man. I've seen Jalen Hurts perform at his ceiling versus Goff's ceiling, and I'll take Jalen Hurts' ceiling at the end of the day.
But that's my point. But it's not even recently. That's my point, though, Scotty. He's not it's not even close in terms of talent. It's not. If I were to be when Jared Goff was moved to the Detroit Lions, would you have told me Jared Goff was a top 14 quarterback in the National Football League? 15 quarterback in the National Football League? Mm-hmm. When he was traded for Matthew Stafford, 1-for-1, because both needed a change of scenery, and it wasn't working, and Goff and the Rams lost to New England a couple years back, and they didn't score. When he was moved, was he regarded as a top half of the league quarterback, pound for pound, talent for talent?
No.
And since he's gone to Detroit, he's been much better, much more efficient. The offense is explosive, and they have an NFC Championship game appearance. They're 9-1. The Eagles are 8-2. The Eagles have a Super Bowl. I don't get, again, why there's this big disconnect from team to team.
The disparity. It's not to say that we can't understand why you think the Lions might be better. They're just right there, but it's looked like you said, it's looked at as if the Eagles are down here and the Lions are up here. And
correct.
I just maybe week 4, maybe week 5, maybe week 6 when they just started winning a couple games in a row. I was still a little fuzzy about the Birds and what they could
1,000%.
be. But I think the biggest revelation of all that can provide this overwhelming confidence is the defense. Like, the defense is the surprise. And it's the surprise that everybody's acting like didn't happen. Like, we didn't see this coming, so I know that nobody else saw it coming. The defense being this good.
Yep.
So that's the difference for me. Like, yes, the Lions pass rush when Aiden Hutchinson was involved and healthy, it was spectacular. They were getting after the quarterback. They're very turnover prone. They force turnovers, right? Brian Branch is a machine back there. But when we look at defenses versus offenses in the matchup, I don't know. I trust our secondary specifically more than I trust what the Lions will be able to do on their back end. So I don't know, man. It's fun to talk about. I think it's something that maybe we'll see how people's opinions change as the season goes on. We got the Rams next, right? That's a outstanding wide receiver duo. You got a great running back there. It's Matthew Stafford. No excuses there, right? Like, we took down Joe Burrow. Like, that was no one, right? Jaden Daniels, rookie, right? Like, okay. Like, Jordan Love at the beginning, it doesn't count.
Yeah, none of that counts.
Right. We're gonna get tested, so it is fun. It's fun to talk about.
And I think what you said is just what I'm trying to get out there. Is it's the fact that it's a conversation because these are the two best teams in the NFC. Hell, they might be the two best teams in all of football right now. But the point is, they're on equal playing ground, and that's not how it's talked about. So, just looking around the end, let me ask you this: besides the Lions, is there anyone that, like, even remote, like, I know, like, playoff football just hits different, right? When you wake up on that Sunday and it's the divisional round and the Eagles are playing, maybe it is Stafford and the Rams, or maybe it's Jordan Love and the Packers, or Brian Flores' defense in the like, yeah, we're gonna be nervous. It's win or go home, right? It's do or die. Yeah. But is there anyone outside the Detroit Lions where you go, they're close to the same in the conversation, or no? Because I look at the 8-2 Vikings and I just go, not a chance.
Sam Darnold, man. I don't know about that. Like, man, you know, if the Green Bay Packers can, like, figure it out, if they can figure it out, but maybe they're figured out. Maybe that's the problem there. We'll find out over the course of the season. I think Jordan Love is interesting. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's like a volatile quarterback, if that makes sense. Like, he can have a 4-touchdown type of game, but he can also have a 3 interception type of game as well. Looking down the list, I mean, there's always those, like, the LA Rams, right, with that offense, like Sean McVay, the pedigree that the Rams come with. I think they're always going to be a tough challenge. Same thing, like, if you were to match up with San Fran in the first round and they're a 7 seed somehow getting in, you're going to have a tough matchup there with San Fran in the first round, right? What is going on, man?
I don't hate the comment, bro. I don't hate the comment.
After this last game, I mean, it's a combo. It's a combo.
I don't hate it. I still think I give the edge to Daniels. Yeah,
and I would let me put it this way: I would much rather have Jaden Daniels as my quarterback than Bo Nix. Like that. Like, honestly, that is how I feel. Yeah. Bo Nix is cool. He's a winner. I do think he's a winner. I think he has, like, that Tebow gene, where he finds ways to win games. May not always be pretty, but yesterday was pretty. That was the best the Broncos offense, quite honestly, has looked. And what the hell are the Falcons? Speaking of NFC and other teams, man, like, what the hell are the Falcons, and how the hell did we lose to them? AJ Brown was out. I mean, I guess that's how bad we are without AJ.
Plays a big role.
No, I don't know in the NFC, man. Like I said, San Fran pedigree, LA Rams pedigree. Tampa Bay is another team if they can, like, sneak in, but they're 4-6 right now. They're on a losing spree. They're really beat up. Other than that, man, Washington, it's a rookie quarterback, right? Like, Sam Darnold. The Cardinals, what are your thoughts on that? Like, just not enough, like, they don't have enough.
Not
they
enough
play good
firepower.
football, but they don't have enough
firepower. Like as good as Kyler Murray's been, because I think Kyler Murray is like, I think we talked about this on Turf Talk. I think he's been like one of the most underrated quarterbacks this year. 12 TDs, 3 interceptions, over 2,000 passing yards. Like I think he's been really good, and they're 6-4 leading that division. Just not enough to like worry me.
We did lose so much.
We did do that.
Kyler Murray just returning dogged us out.
However, I think we're all on
Gannon.
the same page that this year is different. Just like
we gotta hope that that's the case.
Yeah. There's no one else for me, man. I think
Minnesota, like their defense, like
No. I put that conversation to bed the moment that Sam Darnold came back down to planet Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, Scotty, they're on a 3-game win streak after coming back down to earth a bit, losing to the Lions and the Rams, which I'm not saying those are bad losses. Like those are 2 very good teams in the NFC. One obviously being the Detroit team we're talking about. But then you beat Joe Flacco and the Colts. You beat Jacksonville Jaguars 12-7.
12-7.
And
you scored 12 points.
And you beat Will Levis and the Titans 23-13. Like
that's 4 field goals.
Yeah, it's like Sam Darnold and that offense have come way, way, way back down to earth after that 5 or 6-0 star MVP conversation debates. The offense just isn't the same. Now the defense has still been playing very well. Like I think Brian Flores and that defense could still give people issues, but Sam Darnold beating us, in a playoff game, negatory.
Yeah, I have to trust that Sam Darnold would make a mistake against our defense that would ultimately give us leverage towards winning the game. Sure. I don't want it to seem like it's like a walk over the NFC type of situation. I think there's a bunch of teams that are right there in the same spot. The Packers, the Vikings, the Commanders, maybe a step below, right, with the Cardinals and such. But it's not that you can't lose to those teams. I just think on our best day versus their best day, our team's winning. And I think the only other team that there's a conversation is the Detroit Lions at the end of the day. Because once again, not trying to say the Eagles are definitively better than the Detroit Lions. Just think they should be in that convo whenever the Lions are brought up. That's all I think.
I'm just so happy that we're in this position right now with the Eagles, man. Because if we were like 6-4, not that like that's fine, like that's good, you know what I mean. But if we were like 5-5, 6-4, fighting to make the playoffs, etc.,
it would be sketchy. That's not where we belong, man. No, like we are fulfilling expectations right now. That's what it feels like, and that's a great feeling. I wanted to ask you a piggyback question off that though. Like, what is a successful finish to the season? Like, how many games can they lose without you, like panicking or feeling like a collapse? Or maybe a better question is it how they lose the games rather?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with all this success that has come over the 6-game winning streak, if you go to LA and Baltimore and lose both like in ugly fashion, not like ugly, like you blow a lead down the stretch. Like
two good offenses
by like double digits, and you can't stop the Rams offense, and you can't stop Derrick Henry. Now it's like, I'm not saying we're completely toast or anything, but now it's like, all right, hold on, let's reflect in the mirror for a second. What is this team? What is this defense? I'm not saying that's happening at all. I think
you got to win one of those games.
I think they
got to win
one
of
those. I don't care which one is. It'll definitely be how they play, how they lose, how they win. Not how they win, but I mean, you have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left. You're going to beat the Panthers at home. You're going to beat the Giants at home. Maybe even if you don't need to play anybody, you're going to beat the Cowboys at home. So that would be a 3-3 end to the year. You're talking 11-6 just off of going 3-3 the rest of the way.
I don't like that.
I'm gonna say the Eagles finish 12-5. Maybe 13. I don't know. Maybe I'm underselling them. Maybe they can go 13-4, or just I'm gonna say 12-5. Win the NFC East. They'll be the number 2 seed in the NFC. And we're going to roll right to the NFC Championship and battle it out with Detroit is my prediction, and see what happens. But I agree with Martian. I mean, yeah, like obviously, like that is the ultimate goal. I think it's something that you and I talked about all offseason, Scotty, is how this revamped roster was supposed to look. And maybe it took a few weeks extra than we thought to get there. But I think if you told us this is what the Eagles were in August, we'd be saying they're going to the Super Bowl because that's how good we thought they were back in August.
Yeah, and let me just say this. Shit happens throughout the rest of the season, of course. Ravens are the only team that is really an acceptable loss at the end of the day with the talent and the resume that this Eagles team's presenting. At the end of the day, they shouldn't be losing to a Rams team that is, 500 or barely above 500 right now.
And I think Puka got hurt again last weekend, so
Puka
I don't
hurt
know
too?
if he's what he's going to
the Steelers are 8-2. The Steelers are 8-2, brother, but
that was going to be the game. That was going to be the other team besides the Ravens. I know it's at home, so we look at that and we go, no, you can't lose at home. It's acceptable to lose in Baltimore.
If it's a tight, low-scoring game, I can probably live with it. I can probably live with it if it's a loss in that fashion. But like them coming in and scoring like upper 20s, like hell no. Like they should not score that much on us. Quite honestly, let me ask you this for the Lions, because you say the 2 seed. The Lions have 1 loss, of course, right now. They play the Colts. They play the Bears twice. They play the Packers, the Bills, the Niners, and the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is I don't foresee them losing more than 2 of the games.
So they beat the Colts for sure. They beat the Bears. Let's say we can say they beat the Bears twice, even though that might not happen. That's a division game. The Packers in Detroit, we can maybe give them that game. Maybe I don't know. That's kind of a toss-up. Bills also in Detroit. They take on San Fran towards the end of the season, where San Fran's probably going to need the game a little bit more in San Fran.
Yeah.
And then they play the Vikings the last week of the season in Detroit. So the good thing for them, they do have a lot of home field advantage throughout these games.
Yeah, I think the Lions are going to finish 14-3, and unfortunately, I just don't. I just don't think the Eagles are going to go 14-3. I mean, 13-4 is it? 12-5 is a damn good season. 13-4 is a great season. 12-3 would be out of this, or not 12-3, 14-3. Excuse me, would be out of this world. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be the 1 seed, but I could be wrong. I hope so.
I feel like the Lions could drop more than 2 games, man. I do. They definitely, maybe not, but Packers. Bills,
I mean, the games you look at, you're right. It's the Packers, it's the Bills, and it's at San Fran. You would need them to drop all 3. Like I'm going to tell. I know it's a divisional game. They are not losing either game to the Chicago Bears. Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears are such a fucking joke.
They look really bad. They look really bad right now.
And then what does that say about the Packers, who should have lost to them yesterday? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like you got that. Minnesota is at home. If the Lions are fighting with us for the number 1 seed, they're going to try to win that game. So it's like you look at the 3 games on paper again. Anything
I guess why do we give them the benefit of doubt, but we can't get the benefit of doubt in our games? I guess is my devil's advocate question to you is true. Why do we have to lose like 3 more games or 2 or whatever it is, right? Like, yeah. But I guess to your point, we only have to lose 2. We would only have to lose 2,
correct,
to get to that case. So.
Yeah, no, Brian missed our entire conversation. Appreciate you tuning in, Brian. This is not true. The Eagles.
Why do you Why do you feel that way? I'm curious.
The Eagles and the Lions are on the same tier. So yeah, I was getting ready to wrap it up, but if he's still in here,
I'm curious. Like, why would we get smoked?
Wrong team.
In the Indian call center. What the hell? That's a funny one. Darius says, I think we can definitely beat the Lions. We can stop the run and the pass. So how we getting smoked? Yeah, it's interesting.
We can definitely beat the Lions. The Lions can also definitely beat the Eagles, but no one's getting smoked in that matchup. Just not happening. Especially since we're not going to meet in the regular season, so the only time we could meet is probably the NFC Championship game.
Goff wants to throw 5 interceptions.
Right. Unless Jared wants to have those the yips in that game as well. We'll see. They see, all right, so he missed the conversation. That is crazy to me. Like, I respect your opinion, but I can't see it. Why? Like, why do you believe in Jared Goff more? And the only reason I'll throw this to you, and I said to Scotty if you were missing it before, is Jared Goff with the LA Rams was phasing out and was on his way of being put out of the league. Gets traded for Matthew Stafford. Goff has success in Detroit. Stafford goes to LA and wins a Super Bowl. Now, since he's been in Detroit, he's been great. Fits the system perfectly, has all those weapons around him, great line. He's been great. He's been very good. He's in the MVP conversation this year. Last year, Jared Goff and the Lions went to an NFC Championship game. The year before that, like 11 months prior to that, the Eagles and Jalen Hurts were in the Super Bowl battling with Mahomes and the Chiefs. And now both teams are 9-1, 8-2, and both quarterbacks are in the MVP conversation. So where is this big like gap or belief that Jared Goff is a better quarterback? And to Darius's point, Jared Goff just threw 5 interceptions on primetime television 2 weeks ago. If Jalen Hurts did that, I mean, there would literally be people calling for Kenny Pickett to start the next week, Scotty.
Yeah. That is very true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And the next question is, who has played the better football during the latest stretch? I mean, if you just look at the latest stretch, which sure you can include the great game against the Jags, but you also have to include the exact opposite end of the scale type of game against the Texans with 5 interceptions. So it kind of balances out to me.
I mean, I'm good. I think what he's saying is seeing the field.
He doesn't trust him as a thrower. It basically is what. And if you feel that way, okay. I mean, I'm not going to argue about that. I'm not going to argue about that because at the same time, he doesn't always have to show it. So I don't know if that's like a good or a bad thing.
There are definitely moments. There are routes. There are different screenshots we can take of Jalen. Yeah. Missing Smitty wide open on a crosser. There's missing a check down to Saquon that would be an easy first down. He holds on to the ball too long. What quarterback doesn't at times, though? Because then, you get the bad. Then you also get the drop in the bucket to Devontae Smith in the back of the end zone against 2 weeks ago. You get the drop in the bucket to A.J. Brown against the Dallas Cowboys down the sideline. And he makes these perfect throws. He's made them in the biggest stages to Dallas Goedert over and over again in the Super Bowl. So it's like, there's bad, but I don't know.
Yeah, this right here, man.
I don't disagree. Yeah. I think the Ben Johnson system that Jared Goff is in, the play action, the way they feed off of the run and that offensive line, it is perfect for him. And to his success, he's delivering outside of the 5 turnover game. Like every quarterback has a bad game, whatever. I'll throw that out the window. But
I just I think whenever you look at what we're asking both of these quarterbacks to do, with the talent that the Eagles have as well, right, as the Lions, what we've really asked Jalen to do is step back and be a little bit more of a game manager. But I think the difference when I look at both of these quarterbacks and I'm trying to go win a football game, Jalen Hurts using his legs is the difference for me, man.
That was my point.
If I'm just trying to keep the offense simple anyways, run the football, get the ball to my weapons, it kind of is pretty simple from the jump there anyways from a passing standpoint. And then you also have the outlier factor of Jalen Hurts' legs. Able to get you a third down that you got no business getting.
If you were building a team, take play caller away, take weapons away. If you were building a team tomorrow, who would you, if you only had 2 options, Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts, who are you picking to build your team around? Just from a pure
Jalen Hurts,
quarterback play perspective. There's no way, because, Jared Goff looks great in Ben Johnson's system. Jalen Hurts looks good in Kellen Moore's system. They both have a lot of weapons and a great line in front of them. I get that part. But if you put Jared Goff in Green Bay, is Jared Goff looking this way? I don't think so.
Yeah, I just like I think we're like we can do this conversation with like other quarterbacks. Like we can do it with like top 5 quarterbacks, but like not Jared Goff. Like not like especially not Jared Goff after like just like a week and a half ago. The man threw 5 interceptions and had a complete fucking meltdown on national television.
Correct.
Like we can't just forget that. Because they run up the score against the abysmal fucking Jacksonville Jaguars. Like we don't just forget the 5 interception game against Houston where CJ Stroud just tried to, be like out shit the bed on Jared Goff right in that game. Like,
CJ Stroud had a 1 quarterback rating in the second half of that game.
I didn't know that.
I will wrap the show up with this. And Brian and Dana, thank you. Subscribe. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. We appreciate you. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tune in on Wednesday. We can continue this conversation. But I would say this. Jalen Hurts has to be the most criticized quarterback in the game. A top 3. I mean, like, because I know Josh gets it. I know Lamar gets it. Like, there are weeks that other guys get it. But what I'm saying is, like, dude, CJ Stroud is phenomenal. CJ Stroud's been in the league for a cup of coffee, and he's already talked about like he's a top 6 quarterback. And you just mentioned the dude had a 1 quarterback rating in the second half of a 2-possession game they were winning at home, and they lost.
Jordan Love's supposed to be better than Jalen Hurts this season. He has 11 interceptions.
Brian. The last thing I'm going to say, and then we got to get out of here. They are on a 6-game winning streak. They are averaging over 28 points per game. What do you mean if he's not turning the ball over? All he does is take drive-killing sacks. They have won 6 in a row. They are 8-2. And not to mention, over the 6-game winning streak, Scotty, what's he have? 2 total turnovers, 1 interception, and 1 fumble against the Cowboys. That's it. That's the point.
Yeah.
They have won 6 games in a row. No. Jalen Hurts does not just take sacks and turn the ball over. In fact, he's actually in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, I don't know about this one right here.
Vic Fangio's been great. Yeah. Well, listen, let me shut my mouth because
the defense has been excellent.
Well,
that's a very good
Darius
point.
was almost co-hosting Turf Talk because Bo Nix went in Arrowhead and almost won a game. So I'm not going to tell him he's crazy about this one either. I just don't see Cooper Rush winning a football game tonight.
I don't either. I feel you. He's been saying this shit all day in our little group chat as well. I mean, anything can happen, of course. Any given Sunday, Monday, whatever.
Yeah.
I will say, Brian, like the defense has been great, and especially early in games has saved our ass in a sense. I will admit that.
Green Bay saved Jalen's ass. You are right.
Come out and you dropped 30 points in the second half. Like,
right. Like there's
I don't know, man.
There's levels. There's definitely levels. And I agree, Dana. For some reason, he's the only dude that needs to be perfect week in and week out, or else it's talked about in a negative fashion, and he'll be the reason why they can't win a Super Bowl. But yeah. All right, man. We're just gonna agree to disagree on the Jalen Hurts commentary for now. Big game Sunday night. We will be back Wednesday. Wednesday night, Scotty. Wednesday after. What are we doing? Wednesday night.
Should be Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening. And then Friday afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That'll work.
Yeah, man. Just tap in with us throughout the season. I want to keep this conversation going throughout the season, and just let's see how things progress. Of course, we got to see how this season finishes out. Marcia, you are always welcome in any group chat of mine. My man, hit me up on X or something, and we'll get you linked up.
He's not on X, bro. He's nowhere to be found except YouTube.
I know. He's a ghost. He's a ghost. He might be no, I'm not gonna call him a bot. He's not a bot. He has feelings.
Yeah, he's got a lot of feelings, so he's not.
Brian. Oh man, he's a piece, man. He's a work of art right there. Brian Pumper. I see you. Trade you well.
I want to know who Brian does like in Philadelphia sports.
Trade you well.
Trade you well.
What we get in return?
Trade Bryce Harper. He's not a winner. All right. Get the hell out of here, guys. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, please, and thank you. It's YouTube. It's free. And we're doing multiple shows a week plus pregame shows on Sunday. And obviously, as the Sixers hopefully improve and down the line in the spring, we will be doing Sixers pregame shows as well. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, follow. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.
Peace, everybody.